Hi, I'm Doug Farr, president of Farr Associates, Architecture and Planning here in Chicago. And I'm vice chair of the CNU board and really excited to talk to you about the new urbanism. Urbanism is the foundation of sustainability. Cities and towns and hamlets are the places where people live and work that offer the greatest number of choices in terms of lifestyle and variety and living here and working nearby, those kinds of things for people. And guess what? Places that offer the greatest choice, people make smart choices, and they also have the lowest environmental impacts. Think of cities this way. Think of Manhattan. So people that live in Manhattan own the fewest cars. They live in the smallest units. They own the least stuff. Why? Because everything you buy still has to fit in that same unit. You're constrained, which is, to some people not appealing, but honestly, it works pretty well. The other thing in terms of cities, if you think of the suburbs as everything is a separate house that has four walls and a roof that have to be heated and conditioned. In cities, you start to share walls and share floors and ceilings, and the efficiency of heating and cooling in the city is much lower. Also, the distances you have to travel to get from point A to point B are much smaller because everything's much more compact. So cities are profoundly, geometrically more energy efficient than suburbs are. In addition, in terms of just land and land conservation, land is a finite resource in the world. We just have one planet, we don't have a second one. And cities use land very efficiently. And so that's also a very good thing in terms of habitat preservation and also preserving the countryside, not just for nature and creatures, but for the enjoyment of people. Is that when you have a city and there's a clear countryside just outside it, that's a rewarding, dramatic difference. Urbanism is the most economical long-term pattern of settlement. No question about it. It's the most resilient. When you look back in time at places that were settled and developed a long time ago, pick your place, Manhattan, Savannah, Georgia, New Orleans, older cities have held their value over centuries. Go back to Europe and the Middle East, it's a millennia. So all the Roman settlements in Europe are all still cities today, oftentimes on that Roman grid. So cities are the resilient, just long-term, best value you can, certainly compared to the suburbs. The suburbs was a crazy period of about 50 or 75 years where we had more money than sense, and we built stuff that we couldn't maintain, and we wished we hadn't done, and we're trying to figure out how, in a time of seemingly greater austerity, how you fix these places with the constraints we have. So bad decision. Urbanism's the only game. There you go. There's a debate within the CNU about Greenfield development versus infill development, and there are practitioners within the CNU that do both. I think that it's settled, scientifically, that the greenest places are the ones that are most centrally located in a region or in a downtown, and the least environmental, ironically, are those furthest out and sort of embedded in nature. Why is that? The supply lines to get to infrastructure or to a quart of milk or to school or to work are the longest out there in those low density remote places, and so the per capita impacts are the highest. You just can't get beyond that. That said, I think if for students of urbanism and settlement patterns, you can often look to greenfield places and innovative greenfield projects for new ideas that then I think the new urbanists take and shape into urban form. So, for example, the stormwater movement really did start as a kind of rural movement, like water can fall on the ground, go into a ditch because you've got land to burn. Well, can you apply that same idea at a higher density in a city where water falls and is handled essentially on site? And the answer is yes, right? And that actually is pretty exciting. And the transect of the urban-rural transect, has ways to do that make perfect sense in cities. So students that are interested in the new urbanism, more often than not, I think of are leaders. They're leaders. They're trying to chart a course towards a meaningful career that has enduring value for the rest of their work life, and that's a worthy thing. But They are also people that are interested in changing the world. And I have noticed over the years in my work that there's at least 3 areas where students, you may study lots of things, but your end game is to end up as one of these 3 things. Or if you could be multiples, that would be great. And they are mayor, developer, and policy czar. So let me talk about all 3. Mayors are the best. Mayors have the power to be a small god within the boundaries of their town, especially if they're popular and good politicians. And what can they do? They can fix the rules. They can bring forward pilot projects that demonstrate, a neat new idea, how urbanism works with stormwater, how district energy can be incorporated in a high-density mixed-use development, whatever it is. You need an elected official or municipal advocate to make those things happen. The private sector really can't do it on their own. So, which leads me to my second leadership career, developer. There's no reason that people that are studying the new urbanism shouldn't all become developers, the ones that don't become mayors. Developers make a huge difference, and I think that there's an enormous underserved market right now in cities for what I'm calling sort of ultra-hip micro developments, where the units may be smaller, but they have incredible choices. There's a fleet of share cars that runs from the Mini Cooper to the Beamer to the Prius to whatever, to the pickup truck, right? So you don't have to own a car, because I've got ready access to every car I could ever imagine wanting to drive, in the neighborhood. There's great secure storage for my $2,000 bicycle, right? Because a lot of people want that. So the developer that could figure out how to deliver that product, nobody's offering that product, outside of maybe the Bay Area and one other place. That's going to be demand for that around the country. So please become a developer. If you don't become a mayor and you don't become a developer, your third choice is policy czar. So, sprawl, that sort of interwoven set of rules and finance that delivered us a countryside of auto dependence and paving is still intact. It's still the rule of the land. We haven't dismantled it yet. The CNU has been chipping at it for 20 years and has made some incredible strides in terms of street design, integrating sustainability and urbanism through LEED-ND, other sorts of initiatives. But there's another generation of work to do. So I would encourage students that are interested in that, become the policy czar, figure out how to set the rules and the triggers and the incentives in ways that make it easy to do the right thing. The right thing, I believe, is sustainable urbanism. So it's urbanism, the new urbanism as we know it, plus high-performance buildings and high-performance infrastructure. And the resulting lifestyle is really what Americans want. So please do that.